My journey to entrepreneurship is actually very interesting. I'm a former banker, so I was in the financial services sector. And, I had the leap of faith of wanting to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it's been something that I was working on for many years. And about 7 years ago, I decided to start up my own business. And initially, I founded Zenzele Fitness. And then over the years, I started also launching new other businesses. So my funding experience or journey was actually quite interesting. Before I started Zenzele Fitness, to be specific, I had actually tried to raise capital for other businesses that I was trying to launch. And then, about 7 years ago, there was a funding institution that would fund startup businesses. I had zero experience, but what was interesting about this institution is that they weren't just funding the business plan, but they were also funding the entrepreneur. So their motto was backing the jockey. So they believe that if you fund the right entrepreneur, you can actually put them in any business and the chances of them succeeding are actually quite high. And so I was able to raise 5 million as my initial startup. I then started raising debt funding from the banks because the hardest thing with entrepreneurs is obviously raising your initial funding. I think for me personally, what worked was some sort of financial working background. And also I was able to bring in the right team. The funders looked at the team that I was able to put together, even though I didn't have the experience. When I presented to the investment committee, I said I have over 100 years of experience. Meaning I had experience because I had found the right people to assist me. And that's what made the approval for me to actually get my first funding. And so I think as an entrepreneur, you need to understand what kind of business do you need. In fact, sometimes you actually don't even need funding if your business is not capital intensive. With my business, for example, with Zenzele Fitness, as you can see, there's a lot of equipment that are required. And so you have a very capital intensive business, which will then require you to actually have that capital to start the business. I also needed business development capital for me to pitch, present. In fact, it took me about 2 years just to get my first deal. And so the funding was actually very good because it allowed me to, even though I was burning cash over the month or 24 months, I was actually able to do that because I'd actually raised enough capital. For me, it was equity funding. That was the first initial funding. Because I had no collateral, the only collateral I was myself and the promise to the investor. And so they said, okay, cool, let's actually take equity in your business. And over time, whatever sort of agreement, as your business grow, you can actually then buy out and actually retain your shares as an entrepreneur, which is what I did. The cycle of getting funding in South Africa, to be specific, can be very long. Find an investor who's not just putting money into your business, but who's also going to help you to find new business, because there's no point in you having the cash, but you actually don't even have the market to actually grow your business. It's about the business development, the sales acquisition, the growth, and that sort of strategy is something that is also important for me. And I think it is something that most entrepreneurs should consider. The key lessons to any entrepreneur who's trying to source funding: what is the execution plan? How are you going to be able to execute? Funders don't look for great ideas. They look for people that are able to execute those ideas. And so if you are able to show your funder the steps and the process of how you're going to execute to make the business successful, to make the business profitable, your chances of getting funding are very close.